What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. Pretty interesting day, all in all. I want to go over what's going on. Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what really happened, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, SoFi did go up 1%. A lot of volatility though. So first thing, once the market did open, it did have a low of 701. It did kind of rebound from that to its highs of 721 and kind of low volume. So 32.9 million shares being traded, 42.8 is the average. So no actual news, official news from the company itself, but they did participate in this today. So this was that Goldman Sachs tech conference. So I did actually post this under my channel as well. So if you're curious, unedited, it just was straight as soon as it happened, I posted it. And I think in reality, a couple takeaways. So SoFi, or Anthony did say that SoFi, he intends on being within the top 25 for the highest APY. So they will remain that, but with rate cuts potentially coming maybe next week, they will have to adjust. So I think he was just obviously letting people know in advance. Still, I don't see that being that big of a deal. He said even though they did cut 10 basis points, they still are seeing a overwhelming amount of positivity from that. So I think in reality, that's his way of saying that member growth is going up. And I did do a video, I don't remember when, it's all blending together, like a week ago, saying that the web traffic is at all-time record highs. So there's always been that very good correlation between member growth and the web traffic. So I think that's kind of a good thing. He also did talk on a new thing, and I believe Tanner actually summarized it quickly, but Cash Coach. So when he was talking, he kind of explained something like he opened up his app and then he owed, I think he explained like $1,500 or something like that on his credit card. So it recommended that he move money to pay obviously his credit card. So I think that in reality does help really set SoFi apart. And this is where you get the tech component coming in. So it's AI kind of recommending the next what people should logically do in their day-to-day finances. So if true, that is next level stuff. That is amazing. Whether people follow through with it or not, I don't know. Majority of people aren't the brightest out there, but still, I think that is SoFi really setting themselves apart and kind of making a name for themselves. There was a couple other things, but in reality, those are the two kind of takeaways that I got from it. You guys let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Aside from that, shorts did really increase still. So 1.04 million shares net, 17.89% of the free flow is being shorted, works out to be 187.29 million shares. Utilization 44.96. Short score is 69.26, and then cost to borrow average is 0.94%. And I did bring this up yesterday. Some people had some questions on exactly how this could come about. And so I did bring up how the shares on loan is currently at 179.08 million, and the shares being shorted is 187. So a clear indication that there is naked shorting. Some individuals asked, how could that happen? And to be honest, aside from investing and kind of looking at SoFi and stuff like that, I only have Ortex basically for YouTube. I don't really look at this for my day-to-day investing because I've never really encountered or needed to look at this. And so naked shorting is a little bit too like tinfoil hat for me. Like, I get it, there's a lot of people that like GameStop, AMC, but how that could happen, like as far as my basic research, it's sometimes there's synthetics, just random overlap, some from ETFs, some just from options activity. There's a lot of ways that naked shorting could come about, but the fact that there's a good, was it 9 or 8 million between the two, that's definitely something to keep in mind. Still, is it a reason to sell SoFi because of that or buy? Not really. So it's more of a FYI. So kind of just so you guys are aware. Looking at options though, 3.38 million in calls, 2.6 million in puts. 65% of all the options being done today were optimistic and bullish, but no doubtably some of that is shorts just hedging, especially with 1 million shares being increased today. So again, just be aware of that. But this is the current layout for the call options that were purchased. So there was a consensus for it to be around that $8 range by the end of this week. And like I've brought up in the past, typically the closest strike price, so that 750, is hedging and just typical retail and stuff like that. Anything outside of that is true optimism. So you are starting to see true optimism starting to come back to SoFi. So again, there's that. A little bit outdated information, but still good to know. So as you can kind of see, there was within Q2 26 million call options purchased by hedge funds, and that is an increase of 27.74% from the quarter prior, and a grand total of 93.7 million by all 13 filers, and that is an increase of 14.13% from the quarter prior. So I see that as good. Obviously, institutions are buying call options because they're generally bullish, I'd like to assume, and it's not hedging. So again, I just wanted to bring this information up. Clearly goes to show that entities behind the scenes are optimistic on SoFi and have been for a very long time. These are some of the transactions that did occur on the secondary market above $100,000. So you did have, regrettably, a lot of selling that was happening. And so as you can kind of see, based on the bid, the ask, and the selling price, there was a lot of selling pretty much after hours, first thing as well. So a lot of that kind of caused this-ish, obviously downtrend right here. These are all the transactions that did occur on the dark pool. So dark pool, I can't even speak right now, is linked to shorting as well as large entities. So these are all the transactions once again for that. My apologies, I do go through this relatively fast, but you guys can always just pause it and read through it and do what you need to do. But with it at 708 and where it did close, it is trading between these 2 points, so this S1 and the pivot. So 656 will be that very strong support, and then 743 will be that next strong resistance / target. I'm looking at the 1-day chart as well, so that's very strong support and resistance points. Just moving over to the 4 hour, you can kind of see 690 and then 728 will be kind of the closer strike and resistance point. So let me know your thoughts on that. None of that was basically touched in either of the cases. So I think SoFi is just kind of stuck in limbo. Today though, it did really hold on for dear life to that 50-day moving average. And as I said in my last couple of videos, today was a very, very important day for SoFi's technicals. So it is holding on for dear life, and so hopefully you'll be able to see a nice recovery going into tomorrow and kind of break away and stay off of that 50-day moving average. So we'll just have to wait and see what does come from that. I'll move over so you guys can see it a little bit better. So right here, so it's kind of again holding on for dear life. Stochastic, you do see it at 24, so it is rather oversold. So the first sign of kind of optimism, maybe good piece of news that does come out for SoFi, you'll see a rush of value investors. I would have thought that that fireside chat would have been enough to really drive in a lot of buying, but clearly there's just still a lot of fear in the broader market. So as of right now, the fear and greed index is still under the fear category, as you can kind of see. And the next couple of days, so Tuesday is basically more of a technical driven day, then CPI and then PPI, a lot of that is going to equate to rate cuts. So I think the market's still somewhat iffy, cautiously optimistic as what I typically like to say. So I think the market's just kind of waiting, holding its breath for the most part. But you did see number of retail investors selling out, so not necessarily the best. So if you are part of that group, I know I've asked this in the past, why are you selling? Are you just anticipating more downside? Are you just tired of it? What's your thoughts with SoFi? And plus, was there any other takeaways that you guys liked from this fireside chat that Anthony did participate in? Was there anything other than what I brought up that really stood out to you? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with all that said, appreciate all of you watching.